Imagine yourself as a Roman legionary, part of the most disciplined fighting force of the ancient world. It's dawn. You are standing in formation with hundreds of other soldiers waiting for orders. A horn blasts across the camp. Time to gear up. Around you, soldiers are putting on their helmets, heavy bronze shields catching the morning light. You reach for yours and pull it over your head. But then something feels off. Everyone else's helmets are plain bronze, practical, no decorations. Yours, though, it has something different. A bright red crest, feathers swaying in the wind. Your first thought, nice, I got the fancy one. You feel special, like you just won the lottery. But then you notice the change. Dozens of legionnaires stopped what they were doing. They are staring at you, not with envy, but with respect and anticipation. Some stand straighter, some grip their shields tighter. That's when it hits you. This feathered crest isn't just a decoration. It means something big. And what if I told you that the Roman crest was one of the most brilliant military inventions in history? So brilliant that its influence is still alive today. The football fans, biker gangs, even modern special forces. Think about it. Football fans painting their faces, wild hair, crazy colors, or bikers with skulls and leather. All of them are copying Roman soldiers from 2000 years ago, without even knowing it. Of course, the Romans didn't invent the idea. They borrowed it from the Greeks. They made it better. The Greeks wore crests long before the Romans. But for them, it was pure art, pure aesthetics. The crest said, "Look at me, I'm as beautiful as a statue of Apollo." The Romans took that beauty and turned into a weapon. It's like how Americans took European football and transformed into American football, with armor and strategy. For the Greeks, the crest ran straight down the middle. Beautiful but impractical. You could barely turn your head. The Romans shifted the crest sideways or across. Style gave way to victory. Most people think Romans' crests were just flashy copies for show, but that's not true. The Romans made them part of the war machine. Every detail had a purpose. The Roman army worked like a clockwork. Picture this. 5,000 men moving across a battlefield like a single machine. In the dust, the shouting, the clash of weapons, every soldier had to know instantly who was on his side. When you are in the line, it's simple. To your left, let's call him Marcus, with the red crest running sideways. To your right, let's call him Gaius, with the white crest running front to back. Behind you, the commander, with a massive purple plume, standing tall like a giant flamingo. The battle begins. Dust everywhere, chaos all around you. But even in that madness, you know, red sideways means your squad, white lengthwise means the neighboring unit, purple plume, listen for orders. It was like jersey numbers on football field, only instead of Messi's number 10, Roman soldiers' red feathers on helmets. Take for example the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. Centurion Gaius Licinius realized just how crucial his red crest was. When Germanic tribes surrounded the Romans, the battlefield dissolved into a total chaos. Dust from thousands of feet blocked out the sun. Shouts and screams drowned out every command. But even in that hell, Licinius stayed visible. His red crest stuck out above the mob like a beacon. His men relied on that scarlet sign, forming a defensive circle. Nearby other centurions with white and blue crests pulled their soldiers together as well. In minutes, what looked like a panicking mob reorganized into a fighting force. Red crest here, white there, blue forming a third line. Every soldier knew where to go, just by glancing at the colors above their leaders' heads. The Germanic tribes didn't get it. They were used to one-on-one duels, chaotic melees. All they saw were colorful dots moving in strict formation. The Romans turned chaos into order, and order into power. Yes, crests helped identify friends from foe, and regroup scattered soldiers. But that was only the first of its many functions. A month after this fight, Licinius faced off against the Germanic leader Arminius. The two armies stood in silence, staring each other down. Licinius stepped forward. His red crest whipped in the wind, making the tall centurion look almost 3 meters high. His polished armor gleamed. His crimson feathers flared like tongues of fire. The Germanic warriors froze. Before them wasn't a man. It was a god of war descended from the heavens, towering, terrifying, crowned with a fairy name. Arminius had served with the Romans. He knew their tricks, but even he hesitated. The figure before him felt supernatural, almost divine. Think about it. What's scarier to meet in a dark alley? A regular mugger, or a mugger in a creepy clown mask? The unexpected terrifies us most. Licinius knew that. Roman engineers had spent decades studying the psychology of fear. They understood. Size isn't just physical, it's psychological. A warrior with a crest looked taller, fiercer, more confident. A few Germanic fighters stepped back. Others tightened their grips on their weapons. But their eyes betrayed their doubt. That one red plume did more than hours of war cries at the could. Of course, sometimes it backfired. Barbarians quickly realized, if a man wears a bright crest, he's important, he's a target. Yes, crest could confuse enemies and strike fear into the superstitious. But wearing such an intimidating symbol was a privilege reserved for only a few. When young legionary Marcus Cassius first saw a centurion's crest, he thought of the rooster feathers back at his father's farm. Plain, ordinary, nothing special. But he was wrong, dead wrong. These bright red feathers for Roman crests didn't come cheap. They were imported all the way from Egypt and Nubia. Each one went through a whole process, soaking in special mixtures, dyed with expensive pigments, hardened with wax and resin. Peacock feathers come from distant India, eagle feathers from Alpine peaks. A single centurion's crest could cost as much as 3 years' pay for a common soldier, more than a house in the provinces, all for feathers. To put it in today's terms, it's like a middle-class guy buying shoes worth $250,000, or a McDonald's cook leasing a Rolls-Royce. Cassius saved for 5 years to buy his first little red tuft. He ate poorly, skipped new gear, gave up trips home. Every coin went into a liver pouch under his mattress. When he finally earned the right to wear it, Cassius realized this wasn't just decoration. It was proof that he was achieved something, that people noticed him, respected him, judged him worthy. It was like being the first guy in your town to roll up the most expensive sports car at 23 years old. Other legionaries looked at his tiny red tuft with respect. Enemies saw it and thought, that's an experienced fighter. Better watch out. Commanders knew, this man is reliable. After 5 years of savings, Cassius hadn't just bought feathers. He had bought a reputation. Of course, the fancy plumes showed status and wealth. But even the most beautiful crest was useless if it couldn't save your life in the heat of battle. Centurion Titus Labienus learned about the protective power of the crest the hard way. During the siege of Alesia, a Gallic warrior swung a massive two-handed sword straight at his head. A perfect killing blow, deadly, precise, and avoidable. But instead of bronze hitting the steel, the blade hit something else. Dense ostrich feathers, packed tight and hardened with wax. The sword's force was absorbed, its path deflected. Instead of splitting his skull, it left only a deep scratch on the helmet. In that instant he realized his expensive crest wasn't just a symbol of status, it was extra armor. Roman engineers knew this effect. Thick feathers created a kind of cushion of the vital parts of the head. They absorbed shock or directed the strike, both precious centimeters of protection. Modern helmets use the same principle. Inner padding, shock-absorbing layers, reinforced shells. The Romans had figured it out 2,000 years earlier. Labienus went on to live a long life. He fought in dozen battles, took plenty of wounds, but not a single one to the head, thanks to his feathers. Crests come in all shapes and styles depending on rank and role. Ordinary soldiers wore plain bronze or leather helmets, no crests. That had to be earned. Take for example legionary Gaius Octavius. He started his service with bare bronze helmet, and nobody, common soldier, first in line sent on the most dangerous missions, no voice, no say. But after a year, a tiny red tuft appears on his helmet, barely the size of a child's fist, almost invisible. That little crest meant he was battle-tasted, trusted with important tasks. Octavius was no longer just another faceless recruit. He had a name, a reputation, a future. 3 years later, the tuft grew into a sideways crest. Octavius became a principalis, a seasoned fighter, mentor to rookies. People listened to him, respected him. His opinion mattered. Then came the lengthwise crest, promotion to centurion. Now Octavius commanded 100 men. His crest was visible from afar, and his orders was obeyed without question. A double crest marked a tribune, leader of the entire legion, and the purple plume of the legate. That was practically a royal crown. Octavius climbed from nameless recruit to commander in 20 years of serve. Each new crest on his helmet marked another step up the Roman military ladder. Young legionaries looked at his centurion's plume with the same impression he once felt for his commander. In their eyes you could read, "One day, I'll have one too." The system worked for centuries, but time changed everything, even the most sacred military traditions. By the 4th century, Roman legions were no longer the unstoppable war machines that had conquered half of the known world. The barbarian tribes had learned Roman tactics. New weapons made all methods obsolete. The crests, once symbol of pride, had become targets. Enemies deliberately aimed at decorated officers. The bright feathers that once inspired fear now attracted arrows and spears. The last Roman centurions began removing their plumes before battle. Survival mattered more than tradition. Practicality replaced pride. But the idea didn't die. It transformed. It adapted. It survived. Today's special forces mount vision goggles, cameras, and antennas on their helmets. Police wear reflective patches for recognition. Even biker gangs decorate their helmets with symbols of their brotherhood. All of them, without realizing it, are following principles invented by Roman engineers 2,000 years ago. Stand out from the crowd, show your allegiance, display your status, gain a psychological edge. Now look at yourself. Your clothes, your haircut, your accessories. They are all modern versions of Roman crests. Little ways of telling the world who you are, what you've achieved, and which group you belong to. The empire fell. The legions disappeared. But the human need to decorate ourselves, to stand out, to signal our place in the world, that survived everything. So the next time you see someone with a crazy haircut or a flashy jacket or some bold accessory, remember, you're looking at a descendant of a Roman tradition that outlived the empire itself.